The Emerald Lands, or Rokugan in the tongue of its people, comprise a vast, majestic countryside that stretches 900 miles from the pine valleys and snow capped peaks of the Great Wall of the North Mountains at one end to the austere Carpenter Wall standing vigil along the country's desolate southern border.
Beyond the wall lies the Shadowland, a blighted land tainted by the influence of hell itself, and dangerous for even the most legendary heroes to step foot within. At its widest point, Rokugan measures 600 miles, from the Sea of the Sun Goddess in the east to the burning sands in the west. Within its borders, bountiful plains ripple gold in the sunlight, and primordial forests hide mysterious spirits and dangerous creatures.
Hot springs straddle mountain ranges and hills laden with precious gems and minerals. Countless rivers, lakes, and streams wind their way toward the ocean, where fish, seaweed, and pearls are netted by divers and fishermen. Crimson Torii mark the gateway to sacred spaces, which exist alongside the sprawling cities and huddled hamlets of human civilization.
Each of the seven great clans presides over a different corner of the empire, protecting the natural harmony of the land and the kami that dwell there. Shrines and temples dot the landscape, marking places of spiritual power and contemplation. Fortifications, large and small, protect the roads, bridges, mountain passes, and the domains of great lords.
In the shadows of these castles, towns and villages prosper from the efforts of craftspeople and artisans. Beyond the city limits, peasants toil over rice paddies and fields of grain, or hunt and gather the bounty of the forest. To travel the empire on its few roads, samurai must obtain special papers and pay a tax towards their upkeep.
Merchants' carts and horses are banned from the imperial highways altogether, forcing them to rely on special trade routes to carry goods between cities. Given the size of the empire and the difficulty of journeying, few get to witness the variety of the empire's vistas in one lifetime. Instead, citizens are deeply in tune with the natural cycles of the provinces they call home. The heavens bring four seasons to the empire, which are celebrated by festivals and arts. In the spring, the delicate fragrance of cherry blossoms wafts from misty gardens. Summer heralds rains and oppressive heat, slowly giving way to autumn's brilliant scarlet leaves, shrill cicada cries, and typhoons. Winter buries the lands in deep snow, closing mountain passes and driving the citizenry to the warmth and comfort of the hearth. The Code of Bushido, literally the way of the warrior. Bushido is the code by which all samurai in Rokugan strive to live, yet each clan's interpretation of the tenets of Bushido is slightly different. All samurai are taught to embrace the ideals of Bushido and strive ever towards them, at the expense of personal gain. Not even the gods uphold Bushido without flaw. The strictures are nearly impossible to maintain in their entirety, and the struggle to adhere to them consumes a samurai's existence. The virtues recognized by the code are compassion, courage, courtesy, duty, honor, righteousness, and sincerity.
Compassion. Through intense training, the samurai becomes quick and strong. They're not as other people. They develop a power that must be used for the good of all. They have compassion. They help their fellows at every opportunity. If an opportunity does not arise, they go out of their way to find one. The celestial heavens appointed the lords and samurai of Rokugan to rule over the lower caste. But with power comes responsibility. Compassion represents the noblesse oblige of the samurai caste to the peasantry. Most clans interpret this to mean extending physical protection over peasants, but other clans go even further.
Courage. Rise up above the masses of people who are afraid to act. Samurai must have heroic courage. It is absolutely risky. It is dangerous. Only in acceptance of one's death may a samurai live their life completely, fully, and wonderfully. Courage is not blind, it is intelligent and strong. Replace fear with respect and caution. Every samurai lives 3 feet from death at all times. A samurai must be prepared to give their life for their lord, their clan, and the empire at a moment's notice. To die in service of one's lord furthers one's karma, and thus samurai eagerly embrace the idea of a noble death in service to their family.
Courtesy. Samurai have no reason to be cruel. They do not need to prove their strength. Samurai is courteous even to their enemies. Without this outward show of respect, we are nothing more than animals. A samurai is not only respected for their strength in battle, but also by their dealings with others. The true inner strength of a samurai becomes apparent during difficult times. Social order isn't just important to Rokugan, it is, in a literal manner, what the heavens rest upon. A samurai is required to maintain appearances and withstand adversity, exhibiting courteousness even when faced with the most vile lack of it.
Duty. For the samurai, having done something or said something, they know they own that thing. They are responsible for it and all the consequences that follow. A samurai is intensely loyal to those in their care. To those they are responsible for, they remain fiercely true. Samurai are expected to do their duty to their lord and their subordinates without hesitation or reservation, no matter the cost to their own reputation. Of course, any duty given by their lord is expected to be within the bounds of Bushido and bring honor to the samurai by obeying it. Should a samurai feel their duty conflicts with the other virtues of Bushido, they may commit seppuku in protest, a rare exception to needing a lord's permission to end one's life. The sentiment is impossible to ignore. The lord has forfeited the samurai's honor, and no one without honor is fit to serve.
Honor. A true samurai has only one judge of their honor, and that is themselves. Decisions you make and how those decisions are carried out are a reflection of who you truly are, for you cannot hide from yourself. Honor is the most subtle, yet the most basic and all-encompassing virtue. Samurai without honor cannot truly follow the other virtues of Bushido, for they act as others expect and not as their own conscience dictates. If their own honor is intact, however, they will follow the ways of Bushido and pursue justice without flaw or failure, even when commanded otherwise by their lord.
Righteousness. Be acutely honest in all your dealings with all people. Believe in justice, not from other people, but from yourself. A true samurai knows in their heart that there are no shades of gray in the question of honesty and justice. There is only right and wrong. Righteousness is the sunlight glinting off the katana, bright and painful to the eye. There is only truth and falsehood, justice and injustice, and it is the samurai's job to live in accordance with justice and ensure that justice is meted out.
Sincerity. When a samurai has said they will perform an action, it is as good as done. Nothing will stop them from completing their deed. They do not have to give their word, nor do they have to promise. The action of speaking alone has set the act of doing in motion. Speaking and doing are the same thing. Samurai must align intent with their word and deed, acting with complete and total conviction, whether they serve themselves or their lord. A convincing manner is more valued in Rokugan than the absolute truth, for the samurai who speaks with sincerity has committed the totality of their being to the sentiment.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for putting up with waiting on our tech issues. The Mugina were finally defeated. So we hope. We're getting the cameras straightened out, but that'll come later. At least we can talk to each other and talk to you for right now. So thank you for tuning in. This is our inaugural stream of the 5th edition Legend of Five Rings. We're going to hopefully have a whole lot of fun together. My name is Hal. I'll be the game master. I'll be the primary opposition and bad guy. So that's a fun role. Anybody who's played a role-playing game before knows what it is to be a game master. My background is I've been a gamer for quite a long time. It's been a hobby since I was very young. Like most of us, I'm assuming I started off with D&D and branched out. My first encounter with Legend of Five Rings was the card game all the way back in '95 in Imperial Edition, and I've kind of been in and out ever since. Back in those days, I was in the Air Force stationed overseas, so sometimes hard to stay involved with games on a regular basis. But Legend of Five Rings has been one of my favorite games for a very long time. So I'm excited to get into fifth edition. I'm more familiar with the earlier role playing game editions from AEG. But Fantasy Flight Games has the IP now. They've put out a very interesting new twist on how the game works. So we'll go over that. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. I'd like to thank Rem Alternus for giving us this platform to game together and to bring you guys hopefully some good entertainment. Why don't we go around the circle and introduce ourselves? Pat, looks like you're in the upper left corner, so let's start with you.
Hi, my name is Patrick Bryant. I also go by the name Jester, if you so wish. I've been involved, or I should say, I've been paying attention to Legend of Five Rings for a little bit. Not nearly as long as you with Imperial Edition, I believe you said. I touched on the TCG around Ivory, so just before, only a few years before AEG let go of the reins. But I was able to go to the inaugural event for the Final Fantasy Flight at the
Awesome.
Gen Con. That was a really fun time. But haven't really been able to make the time to continue playing the LCG. This is my first ability to be able to play the RPG for their version, so I'm really excited for that. I've played previous editions. I've played in 2 different games. I don't recall which editions were which, so really excited to see where this goes.
Yep, me too. Thanks for that. Zafira, you're next in the framework here.
Okay, yeah, I'm Zafira. I mostly just pop in on tabletop RPG streams. I have a little background with L5R, but from like forever ago. Other than that, I've done a lot of reading and just watching other people play it, just out of a general interest for Rokugan, as well as playing the LCG as well.
Yeah, it's got a very intricate setting. I've explained it being, I think it rivals Star Wars or Star Trek in the amount of sheer detail it has in its canon. Fantasy Flight has done a reboot. If you're familiar with the Legend of Five Rings from AEG's time, so we're kind of getting a new canon now. This game is going to be set in the new canon. James.
Hi, everybody. I'm James. Some might know me from Deniable Assets. Some might know me from Riot House. My background with L5R was I started playing 4th edition, the RPG, about. I wish Mac was in here so he could tell me when he ran that first game. Like 4 years, probably. And we played it pretty regularly. And I've been playing in a 5th edition game for a little while. I absolutely love Rokugan. I love the system. I love the world. I love the lore. Everything about it is just awesome. Yeah. Are we doing like characters, or is that later?
I think we'll talk about characters as we do our intros after this. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. I wasn't 100% sure what I should and shouldn't say.
Yeah. Feel free to give us a little taste though.
All right. I'm gonna be playing Akoma Saito, and he's gonna be a hell of a lot of fun. I'm really, really excited. I've been stoked about this game for the last like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, he's not your typical lion, for those who are familiar with the setting. So, we have another cast member, Chris. If you watch us on D&D Saturdays, you would recognize him as the mastermind behind Phelan. He has some real world commitments that keep him from being here tonight, but he's going to be one of our regular cast members. Big Chris, why don't you round us out?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Chris. I've never played this game whatsoever, but I'm a lifelong fan of samurai and Asian culture. So yeah, I'm so pumped to be a part of this game. Yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah, there are the games are few and far between that do like an Asian or a samurai twist. D&D, Pathfinder, lots of games will give you kind of like a fantasy version of Europe, but it's hard to find a fantasy version of Asia in a RPG. So this is kind of different, and I think it would appeal to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the character idea you put together? Because your perspective is pretty different from James, because you don't know anything about Legend of Five Rings. You just are a fan of the genre.
So since I have no idea about the world of Rokugan, I decided to be someone who knows very little about the world of Rokugan. I decided to go with like an Afro samurai type feel and be and come from some faraway land.
Yep.
Naomi is kind of weird, has no idea what he's doing in here, but
Yeah.
you know what? He's pretty friendly and gets along with everybody and tries to make his way through.
Yep, that's being friendly is a good thing. You don't want to say the wrong thing to the wrong person in a setting like this, because unlike D&D, getting into a fight is not a guaranteed you're going to survive kind of a thing. So
Deadly AF.
yes.
And even if it's not the fight that kills you, it's the honor loss.
Yeah. Yeah, even winning a fight. Well, now you just have you killed somebody of another family, and now all his cousins are going to be coming for you. So
Yes.
good luck with the rest of your life.
Hope they can
Good news, it
bob
won't
and
be very
weave.
long.
Okay. So just kind of I know we did a shout out to Rim Alternus. They're the ones giving us this platform. It's kind of a tradition in our other streams. We talk about the cool nerdy stuff, and I think this week we might want we want to talk about Fragging Unicorn Games and their Gangs of the Undercity Kickstarter is wrapping up in the next little bit more than 24 hours. Does somebody know how much time it's got left?
36 hours is the last
Okay.
time we got, with a little over a day and a half.
So yeah, if you're a fan of cyberpunk, or especially Shadowrun, with like an urban fantasy with magic mixed into your cyberpunk, this is a skirmish war game in that kind of a setting. And they're doing a Kickstarter. You can get some pretty cool miniatures. I know I want to get it just so I can play Shadowrun with it. And if the game turns out to be good, which I assume it would, it's just a bonus. Pat, I think you were involved with the Kickstarter.
Yeah, very, very generously. They've referred to me as a dev on their Discord, so
Okay.
I guess technically I'm one of the development team, even though I've not really done anything.
All right.
So anyway, the Games of the Undercity, it's a miniature skirmish game. It's done by a lot of people that have an incredible amount of passion for the idea, the concept. They've done a lot of stuff with Shadowrun in the years. I don't know exactly what all they've done outside of that. This is their take on the concept of a fantasy cyberpunk world where magic is prevalent, has always been prevalent. So that's going to be one difference from the general idea of Shadowrun, where there was a reawakening. This is going to be a world where it's always been there, and the technology is more of the newer boy to the table. They're taking a very different aspect with some of the different races, but when it comes down to specifically the Games of the Undercity, this takes place in the Undercity of Neo Babylon. Kind of think a little bit like Final Fantasy VII, Midgard. You had the upper city and you had the lower areas. It's the lower slum areas. It's the city it's been built on top of. So it's essentially them just trying to make a living, try to do what they can to make sure that they got what they need and they can keep moving forward. And there's several different factions that you're able to choose from. Several different factions have been unlocked because of the wonderful backing they've received up to this point.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. If you like games and you want to have more games out there in the world, they're Fragging Unicorn Games. I think somebody has the link in the chat already for the Kickstarter. So let's segue into what we're going to play. Though we're going to play Legend of Five Rings. For those who don't know anything about this, kind of just to say once again, this is a samurai drama, kind of a role-playing game. It has more of a narrative twist on it than D&D would. I think D&D is probably a common reference most of us and most of our audience would have. In this game, we're all playing samurai of some kind. Samurai doesn't necessarily mean somebody in heavy armor and lots of weapons. A samurai is a caste. This is like the ruling noble class in Rokugan are all samurai. So you can have a samurai who's a fighter type. They call those bushi. You can have a samurai who's more into spell casting or is more into negotiations. So lots of different kinds of classes. The races and classes in D&D kind of have an analog here. You have the different clans of Rokugan, or the different allied families that get together, or more often don't get along so well with the other rival clans. And you have a school that your character is a part of, a fighting dojo if you're a fighting type, but the school is a analog for class. It kind of defines what your broad capabilities are. The mechanics are very different from D&D. I think that warrants kind of going over in broad strokes before we get into the role playing, so that people who aren't familiar with Legend of Five Rings kind of understand what we're doing as we play. Who was our person for talking about the rings? I forgot.
I basically volunteered for that, but I don't really have
Alrighty.
anything terribly prepared, so I can basically
Okay.
just kind of go off the cuff on the idea.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Tell us what the rings are and what they mean. That way, people, if they're getting sick of my voice by now, they can hear somebody else.
All right, so to basically just read directly out of page 32 of the core rulebook for a very brief moment. Each of the 5 rings represents the character's natural inclination towards a certain approach to solving a problem. Rather than reflecting exclusively mental or physical parameters, the character's rings are primarily an expression of their propensity towards certain ways of seeing the world and facing challenges. So one thing that's extremely I don't want to say extremely unique, because I honestly I'm not very versed in a whole lot of different RPG systems, so I'm not entirely cognizant of what systems might have something similar. But when I go to do a thing, I basically either narrate or kind of choose how I'm going about to do that, and then that will reflect on to which ring my character has as far as stats that applies to it. So we have the 5 rings. We have air, earth, fire, water, and void. Air is a very subtle approach to certain things. Let's pull the thing back up here so I can try to give a little bit better on this. Yeah. So, for example, my character is going to be doing a lot with air as far as a subtle approach to things, getting information, subverting things in a bit, and not necessarily like a lying fashion, but kind of getting the stuff out of there. Earth would be a situation where you're really like holding your ground, such as if you're entering an argument or something. Perhaps a little bit more on like the compassion end. You're not really trying to incite violence. You're not really trying to reflect it, but you're not really going to move anywhere. Fire would be that inciting kind of thing, that very active approach. And water, I don't think I have a very good mental idea of it. As far like in my general mind, it would be kind of like ebb and flow of certain things, but generally with a lot of power as well. It's not as esoteric as air can be. And then void is just void.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you're familiar with D&D, you have your attributes like strength and dexterity and constitution. In this game, we have the five. Your attributes are your rings. You have fire and air and water and void rather than those other ones. And just to give you kind of like a D&D analog, Earth would be things that involve being resolute and being stubborn or having resilience. Water would be things that involve perception and strength and movement. Fire is about quickness and invention and destruction. And air is about deceit and empathy. So each ring actually has very different things you can do with it, but they all are linked together in some kind of a theme. So whether you're doing a fight or you're having an intrigue with somebody, you can roll any one of the five elements. It just depends on which kind of an approach you're doing. So like if you're fighting, that's a pretty easy situation for most of us to just think about in basic terms. If someone using fire while they're fighting, they might be doing a full attack where they're not worried about their own defense, whereas somebody fighting with their earth ring might be doing the opposite, where they're focusing on parrying and blocking and waiting for somebody to give them an opening before attacking. So the key mechanic is you can roll any ring with any skill that you have. It's just that's how you narrate it, and that's what your strategy is that's what links to your ring. Okay, James, why don't you tell us about how the dice are pretty different from how people who play D&D would be familiar?
Absolutely. Real quick, back on the ring thing. One way, because I've been playing a character that's mainly water based. One example that I've used is if you watch anime, Cowboy Bebop, Spike Spiegel, the main character, would be a very good example of how somebody using their water ring fights. It's all about maintaining momentum through there and flowing through the battlefield. Sorry, I've been sitting on that for a while, and I just really wanted to say it.
Oh, Jarrett, yeah, somebody wanted.
Well done.
But anyway, the dice mechanics. So I know whenever I started, whenever I heard that Fantasy Flight had bought the rights to this game and they were doing their custom dice, I was very skeptical. Just because I'm not a huge fan of custom dice, because that just means I have to buy more dice, and I've already got way too many clicky clacky rocks as it is. But so it uses a D6 and D12s, but all of them have these crazy little symbols on them instead of actual numbers. So your D6s are going to be your ring dice. That's going to be what we were talking about before with the approaches, as far as air, earth, fire, water, void. If we only had heart, we could make Captain Planet.
That's void.
And then those are going to be your D6s. And then you have your 12-sided dice, which are your skill dice. So very similar to Shadowrun, you have different skills that you put different ranks in, and that's what's going to build your dice pool. Is your ring is going to be your how many 6-sided dice you're using, and your skill is how many 12-sided dice you're using. Whenever you roll your dice, the 6-sided dice has one blank face. It has a face with a kind of a star-looking thing, and I've kind of showed it as to be like a flame symbol, and that's going to be your opportunity and your strife. It has an opportunity side, and then it has a little circle I'm trying to think of the best way to describe these symbols without actually having a physical representation.
Yeah, Tom may be able to zoom in on the dice on our mat and see if he can show those. But yeah, there are custom symbols rather than numbers.
Yeah, exactly. And so we have the little circle, which is going to be a success. And then you have what looks like 3 tadpoles chasing each other, which is going to be, I call it an explosive success, but I think it actually has. Oh, it is an explosive success. Yeah. I'm calling it the right thing. Yeah. And whenever you have an explosive success, you can re-roll that die again, and then, continue on. It also utilizes what they call a roll and keep system. So what the game master does is he sets a TN level. Your normal TN is generally going to be about a 2. That's kind of your average task.
What does TN stand for?
Target number. What you're going to try to do is, if your target number is a 2, then you're going to try to get that many successes. But you can only keep as many dice as you have ring dice. So, or as your ring is. So that's where the approaches come in. Really, really important. So if you're a heavy air person, like you have a lot of air points, then you generally want to try to use an air approach, because then you're going to get more dice, and so on and so forth with all the different elements. Once you've rolled your dice, you can also accrue opportunity and strife. Do you want me to go ahead and explain that as well, or
Zafira, you want to take opportunity and strife, or let James?
I have them, but James is welcome to. He seems pretty excited. So
all right. We don't want to derail the James train.
Yes, we're going.
Feel free.
Go ahead. I'm liking it. Your description can be better than mine anyway.
Okay. Oh, hold on.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Maybe. I had to cough. But so opportunity, which kind of looks like it's kind of like a star symbol or something. I don't know. It's a little weird. But opportunity gives you some narrative flair or secondary effects. There are certain opportunity options that you can do that if you have multiple opportunity, you can do things. You can do things stealthily. You can do them flashy. You can do them quickly. It really depends on what ring you're using. Whenever you're doing air, you're going to be doing subtly, stealthily, precisely. Earth is going to be cautious, calm, very thorough. Fire is going to be creatively, fearsome, noticeable. Water is efficient, gregarious, or flexible. And void is instinctively, inscrutable, or sagely. Whenever you're using, and that's usually kind of your descriptors as far as how you're doing an item using those opportunity points. Whenever you use, you can also use it as a narrative. That was the word I was going to try to say. Narrative tool. And whenever you give that narrative tool, again, based on what ring you're utilizing it with, you can pull out small details if you're using air, plus strengths and weaknesses and emotions in people. Earth is your own memories of something, the history of objects, people, and you can, if you're doing like a siege, defensive positions. Fire, you can tell their motivations. You get flashes of your own insight and what's conspicuously absent in the scene. Water, environmental dangers, presence of useful terrain or objects or escape routes. And void, supernatural presences, flashes of premonitions, and just kind of that instinctive warning, kind of like Spidey sense. And those are all the uses for opportunity. Another tool that this game utilizes is strife. Now, the way that I've described strife before is effectively it's your stress level, because Rokugan is a very, very rigid society, and you have what is known as your on. It is the face that you represent front-facing towards society and towards other samurai. Your on is supposed to maintain composure, collected, cool, calm, never failing, never changing. As you collect strife, your on can begin to crack a little bit, as it were, the mask that you wear. So whenever you get strife on your dice, and It's really good if you're using, we'll say, in an attack scenario. If you're in the middle of a battle, Strife isn't really super bad in the middle of a battle in most cases, but Strife can actually be very beneficial because if you're using like a fire attack, then you can utilize that Strife as extra successes while also allowing your emotions to show through. Kind of good, kind of bad, but it's beneficial in its own way. But one thing that happens as your strife level increases is you start showing your emotions through your on, which allows people, especially in courtier situations and social situations, to take advantage of those. If you're in the middle of a heavy negotiation with somebody about, we'll say, trade routes, for instance, and they realize that your on is starting to crack, then sounds to me like that person is going to realize, oh, I see that they're getting nervous about this, so they can utilize one of their techniques to get kind of a one up on you in a social situation.
Yep.
The bad part about strife is you can become what's called compromised, and a compromised person, you're basically at your emotional limit, and those subtle cues start to come through. For instance, with my character that I'm playing, Koma Saito, he's a very gregarious person. Whenever he is compromised, he gets extremely quiet, aka much more like the person who plays him. And he starts getting a little shifty-eyed, and that's whenever you know that he's compromised. Go ahead.
I was going to say, to put kind of like a D&D analog for, or to put a D&D frame of reference, in D&D, you have hit points. When you run out of hit points, you're down. We have a similar mechanic in this game called endurance. But Strife is like a parallel system. It's like hit points for social encounters. Once you run out of your social hit points, then you don't necessarily go down, but you go into the unmasking where you start racking up dishonor for yourself. So that's kind of one way to think of it if you're more familiar with D&D.
Yeah, that's a really great analog. Excuse me, that's a really good way to put that. That's going to be social hit points. I like that a lot. So one of the best ways to get rid of a compromised position or remove strife is something they call unmasking. Unmasking is something you never want to do in a social situation if you can avoid it, because then you have proven that the person that you are socially combating is better than you, and they've gotten the best of you, and you've pulled your on off, and they've finally broken through all of your armor.
They made you cry.
Mm-hmm.
Or break things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Either way, you have brought shame upon yourself and your family.
And your cow. So a couple of the examples they have in the book as far as unmasking, and one thing that I love about this system is they give examples of how to do things, but the way that you can do things, as long as you and your GM have the discussion that it's okay, you can effectively do anything however you think you can do it, as long as you can explain it. So some of the ways that they show as unmasking is you bend your principles. You do something that conflicts with your values, your oaths, to bring about a result that you desire, aka you're doing something a bit shameful to yourself. Another way to unmask is you expose an opening, which you would reveal a vital flaw in your argument, defense, or position, often relating to what we have as disadvantages. Your honor is challenged. So basically you declare that I challenge you to a duel, you son of a bee. There is also inappropriate outburst. This is kind of the most, this is one of the more commonly utilized. You get mad enough to where you just say something really crappy, and you just kind of burst it out.
Okay. Let's keep more details for later.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the time.
Sorry.
I want to stay on schedule. So we still need to talk about our characters, and then once we talk about our characters, we'll dive into the game.
I get a little carried away sometimes.
Yeah, no worries at all. So the way character generation works in this game is they have 20 questions they walk you through, and every time you answer these questions, it has a mechanical impact on your character. And then once you've answered 20 questions, you're done. You have a playable character. We're not going to go through all of everybody's 20 characters, but I'd like for each of you in turn to kind of walk through what your character is. Start with what clan you are, what family you are, maybe why you picked that, and then talk about your school and what what that means, because I think each of you has a pretty different one. So we can go over a lot of game mechanics just in talking about individual characters. So Pat, let's go back to you. We'll leave Chris, I'll for last, because you can kind of see what they're saying, and I'll help you walk through your character.
All right, so I am playing a
Sounds
member of
good.
the Crane family. I am a Shugenja, which in this world are the easiest analog with like D&D would be like a mage or a wizard, but that's not exactly accurate. They're the priests.
Yeah, I am
of-
going to back you up a little bit. So tell us who are the Crane clan?
So the Crane clan are what is it, the right hand of the emperor? Or they had the whole analog of like crane and lion, right hand,
Yep.
left hand, and then you had the underhand. And I can't remember exactly which was which, but the crane are the exemplars of what's correct as far as like beauty, dueling skills, jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. They are exemplars of like courtly manners. Not to say that they don't shy away from the combat manners. They just don't shine as much as some other clans do. No,
I think
not a whole lot to say on that one, I guess.
Okay. All right. Well, fair. Yeah, they set the standard for grace and beauty and courtly politics. They're a very wealthy clan. They have a lot of good land, so that's probably good enough for now. Tell us about. You have a special situation where you picked a school that belongs to another clan. So tell us about the school that you picked.
Yes, so my character attended a scorpion school for the soci-illusionists. My character's Shugenja abilities have been nurtured and molded through their practices of essentially mechanically. I have an ability to where I can cast magic in a way that it's not perceptible that I'm the one doing it.
Sneaky
Um,
stuff.
Yeah, so that subterfuge type end to it.
Okay. And you have your push to talk got dropped, I think.
Oh, yeah, I was done speaking at that moment.
Okay. And then you got a interesting background. You tell us a little bit about your background hook with your uncle.
Okay, so the general concept of the character idea is my father, Doji Hohodagisu, and my mother, or I should say, like, okay, so my father's dead in the current point in time. My uncle is actually my lord, Doji Akuto, and at one point in time, essentially, my uncle was basically the reason that my father like fell from grace, lost his position, and essentially lost his life. My character knows this, but at the time, because of the marriage between my father and my mother being originally from the Scorpion family before being married into the Crane family, and other political deals made, I was being trained over in Scorpion lands. I catch word of the situation, but don't really have any power to really do anything because my uncle has a much higher status. And now, after my Genpuku, I essentially am serving my uncle as he is the individual of that status, of that position, even though I know what occurred. The the proper thing to do is to ignore that.
Okay. Zafira, why don't you walk us through
All right.
Bayushi Ayane or Akane?
Akane.
Akane. Okay.
Yes. So yes, I got Mayushi Akane. She's of the Scorpion Clan. Also
So what does
known as
that mean? Yeah.
The Scorpion Clan is known as the underhand of the Empire, the Emperor. Where all the other clans play their individual roles, the Scorpion's specific role is to do the tasks that need doing, but no one wants to be seen doing. And because of that, they also get to fulfill the role of a villain because it's of the belief that conflict keeps us all together. And if there's not an actual consistent threat across, infighting goes up, and it's already a problem as is. So when you have a common enemy in the Scorpion, it's easy to focus your energy there. But due to the nature of the Scorpion, they're also an ally as well. So the trick of it is where do you trust the person that can't be trusted? And as such, I am playing a Shosuro infiltrator, or an infiltrator from the Shosuro infiltrator school, where I'm a courtier at the surface, but unlike the typical courtier, I am able to hold it together fairly decently in a fight. And where those skills apply themselves, I want to extrapolate. I'd rather just show on that as opposed to speak on it, because those things don't really exist. Yeah, I think that's about it for me. Oh, well, I guess my lord is, what is his name? Bayushi Korechika, who's a big opioid lord.
Yes.
Which is why I'm working where the campaign takes place, to help maintain the balance there, as it were.
Well, even the opium cartels are legitimate. There are legitimate medicinal uses, even though each cartel probably produces way more opium than the entire legitimate uses need. But
it's to meet the demand of the crane, you see.
Yeah. Well, it's.
Hey, now.
Hey, just because they don't say they want it doesn't mean they don't.
They wouldn't be buying it if they didn't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're currently in conflict with the Lion Clan. We have a lot of wounded soldiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
All right. So yes, let's segue into our party's lion.
The only reason why you have so many injured is because you don't fight as well as we do. So I am playing Ikoma Saito. He is a lion. The Lion Clan is known as War itself, forged by the Kami. Forged by the Kami Akodo to crush the Emperor's foes and enforce Hantai's will absolutely, Hantai being the Emperor. Lion Clan culture lives and breathes martial achievement and glory, and it expects its children to meet force with force and death with a smile.
Asian Sparta.
Pretty much. We are awesome. It's a hard path for anyone to walk, and harder still for a gentle soul. Even those among the Lion Clan who are not warriors, such as myself, often couch their achievements in martial terms that glorify combat as the highest of arts. Now, my particular character is what is known as a Ikoma bard on the surface, but little does anyone know that he is an Ikoma shadow. The Ikoma Shadow School does what the Lion Clan can't admit that they do. Very similarly to certain other insectile-like clans with stingers, they do kind of the shadier stuff. The idea behind the Ikoma is we allow our emotions to be shown so that our cousins in the other families of the Lion Clan can show their emotions through us. And the Ikoma Shadows sacrifice their honor to advance the other lions so that they don't have to sacrifice their own.
Yes, they take the hit for the team. which is kind of the as Zafira was explaining, kind of the Scorpion's attitude towards the whole empire. We'll do the dishonorable stuff so you can play pretty samurai and keep your honor intact. So yeah, sometimes the Lion just don't want to give those duties to the Scorpion. They need someone they can trust to do dishonorable things when dishonorable things need to be done.
Exactly, because the Shadow will keep the Lion's secrets, whereas the Scorpions will sell them. It's just their nature.
I just figured it was because you were trying to use those things against us.
Well, of course, but we're not going to admit to that. We're not that shady.
Yeah. So those who are keeping track so far, we have a crane who was trained by the Scorpion, and he kind of has dim views of his own lord. We have a Scorpion. We have a Lion Scorpion wannabe. So this is already quite the party that's we've been putting together.
Shots fired.
Yep. Shots fired. Okay. Chris, why don't you tell us about your Ronin? Because you're different from the rest in that you don't have a regular. You you suffered the worst fate a samurai can have, that's even worse than death, is to have nobody who you have fealty to. So tell us about the story of your character.
Yeah, I mean, I kind Naomi is a Ronin who came in from a far distant land, but
so
like his story is a tale of romance and deceit.
Yep.
Like he chased the girl and he got the girl, but got more than he bargained for. So being that he's a gaijin, he truly can't really be a part of any clan on his own. So he kind of snuck his way in there by saving the daughter of a local daimyo from a bunch of ogres, and as a reward, he promised her hand in marriage. And so, like, now he kind of has some protection walking around the streets of Rokugan, since he...
I think he cut out there.
Yeah, he wields a Kopesh, which is a weird sword that's from...
Yes. So yeah, instead of a katana like most of the samurai are using, you have this bizarre foreign sword which doesn't even look like a katana. So you're very, very memorable. Okay. And I'm looking at the feed. Like most of us are locked up. I'm hoping my voice is coming through okay. So why don't we segue into the game itself? I think we've talked about the rules and meta enough. I think probably some time for some fun to be had and some fun for people to watch. I think maybe pull this out until James comes back a bit.
He just got back.
So we're going to kick things off in an in media res kind of a format to just facilitate getting right into some action, getting into some basic stuff that we can kind of all cut our teeth on. And what we're going to do is just to fill in for the audience, kind of the nature of this campaign is going to be taking place in a giant mountain range called the Spine of the World. It cuts right through the center of the empire. On the south side of the mountain range is the Sneaky Scorpion clan. On the north side of the mountain range is the Brash Lion clan. The two of them hate each other almost as more than anybody else, although the Lion really hate everybody, and everybody hates the Scorpion. So it's kind of hard to give qualifiers. But this is a particularly nasty border region between these two clans that really don't like each other. Now, this mountain range is important for strategic reasons because it cuts the empire in half. Really, there's only one way through the mountains, or one really good way. All trade and commerce goes through a narrow, goes through a pass called Biden Pass. It's the only pass big enough for good, safe travel. If you don't use the pass, you got to go all the way around to the coast and go through Crane territory, or you go all the way to the west and go through the steppes and go through Unicorn Clan territory. So the pass is a strategic asset between these two hostile clans that can't agree on anything. So this campaign is going to be revolving around one samurai who took it on herself to try to do a service for the Empire and police this pass that's so important for the good of all clans. And your characters, in the case of clan characters, are going to be loaned out to this magistrate by your native lords, and this magistrate is going to be your temporary lord. And those of you who are Ronin, Naomi and Kaze is the other Chris's character. Chris can't be here. You two Ronin, it wouldn't be seemly to be given titles and responsibilities. So you're just mercenaries that are paid by the magistrate because you're Ronin. Now,
Money talks.
That's right. That's, you're a Ronin. You don't have everything provided for you like a lord, like a normal samurai. So you got to provide everything for yourself. That's what money's for.
Mm.
So the situation we're going to start ourselves off in is word has gotten to the magistrate that you work for that a traveling caravan of acrobats from the Cat clan, a minor clan of the Nekoma family, have just passed through and have arrived in the Scorpion side of the pass in a town called Biden, which is what the pass is named after. And they reported to the magistrate that they saw a wreckage of a cart down in a ravine up in the pass. They called out. They didn't hear any survivors, and they didn't have enough time to mount a rescue of their own if they wanted to get out of the pass before dark. But they're reporting it to somebody. The magistrate did some looking around and found out there is a merchant who was due to arrive and hasn't, from the Crab clan, specifically of the Yasuki family. That's their money handlers. And you've been dispatched to go find this cart, rescue the Yasuki samurai if you can, and find out what's going on, and if he's dead, then do what needs to be done for his next of kin. Each of you has been given use of a horse, so you can
Sounds
travel
like a plan.
up into the pass. And it's about a 4-hour ride from Biden, where you're temporarily headquartered at. And after the 4 hours, you get to the ravine that the Cat clan traveling acrobats had talked about. And you're looking around. You're in the Biden Pass. It's about a 1/4 mile wide before you have the mountains going up on either side. But there's a lot of runoff that comes out from the mountains due to the annual snow melt, and the runoff has caused a washout, and part of the traveled road has eroded away. And down at the bottom of this ravine, where there's a stream and trees, there is a cart on its side down there in the trees. It's about 30, 40 feet down a steep scree. So what do you do?
Hey, is that a cart over there?
Certainly looks
It
like
looks like it.
Does anybody else see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you think we should
Okay,
investigate?
so is this what we're looking for? It seems like one of the oldest tricks in the book.
Okay. Well, do you suspect an
Yeah,
ambush of
sounds
some
like a good
kind?
idea to me.
Looking at the cart, does it show any kind of clan markings, clan colors, anything like that?
Oh, that sounds like a government role, and unless you have a reason to not use water, that would be perception.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna use my air approach.
Okay, so explain how air is going to help you in this as opposed to another ring.
Let me. Oh, I had an approaches sheet up and everything, and
Uh, if you get into roll 20, I have that right there on the map.
all right, there we go. All right, so we're using government, which
That'd be a scholar skill.
there I'm sitting here trying to find it on two different pages.
Yep.
All right, so government, since that's going to be a scholar skill, I'm going to be surveying the surroundings around me.
Okay.
So actually, that sounds more like a water, but because I am
Okay.
looking at it specifically and I'm not trying to see anything around it, I'm trying
Okay.
to analyze
All
what
right.
I'm looking at.
All right. You sold me.
There we go.
All right. So I don't know if we can get the camera on the dice results. We'll talk about your roll here after you make it.
Ferment with air, and there is my roll. That is an amazing roll.
Okay. So tell us what you got
I
there for the benefit of the
Love
audience.
I love roll 20. This is great. Okay. Let me pull up the stream just so I can see what everybody's seeing. All right. So the first black die has an opportunity and a strife.
Okay. So
The
the 3 dice are your ring, and the 2 dice are your skill. Yep.
So the first black dice has opportunity and strife. The second and third black die has a explosive opportunity and strife, and the fourth white die, which is my skill die, has an opportunity on it. I can keep up to 3. But by the way, what was my TN?
If I keep it secret, you get void. It wasn't supposed to be
Yes.
secret, so 2 is your TN.
2 is my
in
TN.
this, yeah, and we're about to find out why it's important to know what the TN is.
All right. So I can re-roll because those 2 black dice have explosive successes. I'm going to re-roll those, but instead of keeping the other black die with the strife on it, I'm going to keep the white die with the opportunity. That way I can keep my strife down to a minimum. How on here do I add other dice? Or actually, we talked about that. I think I remember.
Yeah, on your character sheet, you should have that
The
part where you
roller?
can just, you can just put in 2 ring dice and roll the 2 ring dice. You have it at 0 and 0 still.
There we go. I didn't click off of it. That was
Yep.
the problem.
Okay.
All right. From my explosive success, I got another success, which is the little small circle, and another opportunity with strife.
Okay.
And that's going to be a total of 3 successes, 2 strife.
All right. So with knowing that your TN is only a 2, like for example, that second ring die that was the explosive success, that extra success adds on to that. So that's already your necessary 2 hits, and then you can maximize your opportunities if you like, or go for extra successes. But in this case, extra successes won't help it. So
yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the 1 black die that rolled an explosive success with a strife and a regular success, and my opportunity die. Since this is, let's see, this is going to be a air. Currently zooming in on my opportunity. Act subtly. Notice an interesting detail. Or learn something about it. Nah, there's not really much that I can really do.
So you were asking about the clan markings, but if you spend the opportunity, you can get another interesting detail as well.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and spend the opportunity in that way.
Okay. All right. So you are looking at the wreckage. Of course, the cart is not painted; it's just wood. But you can see they have the sashimono is what you wear on your back, but they have banners that you put on the cart, which are similar. And you absolutely can see there's a dark blue banner. That's the color of the Crab Clan. It's got the Crab Clan Mon, and beneath it is the Mon of the Yasuki family, the two carp. This absolutely looks like the cart you're looking for. This guy does not have his own personal Mon to go as the third icon. You do notice, though, because of your opportunity, in addition to all the wares have been spilled and their barrels of boxes have been broken, you notice a very suspicious-looking arrow is embedded in the side of the cart.
Okay. Looking at the arrow. So here,
I'm
can
looking around me.
Okay. What are you looking around yourself for? Let's give somebody else a shot here.
Like,
Are you looking
just
for
looking
an
around
ambush,
myself,
perhaps?
trying to see like which direction the arrow's coming from,
Okay.
whatnot. If there's like a vantage point that someone could be ambushing us from, something like
Sure.
that.
All right. Well, which stance would you say that you're using? Earth would be
I'd say
your
I'd be using water.
okay, because that's your best one. So water would be using opposing force against
More like
itself.
twirling around.
But
Uh-huh.
I have to say we did establish that a washout happened. So I'm not going to see any reason to say you have to use a different ring just to look around. So you can use water, and I'm going to say tactics. If you're looking for where an ambush might have come from. So are you able to see that on your character sheet?
I see conflict mode, and then am I clicking water, right?
Okay, so let me get your character sheet. I'll walk you through
You
this.
should be in our narrative mode.
Yeah, so you want to be in narrative mode.
Yes.
And you know what? I don't think we finished your character sheet. So
Narrative mode. Okay.
Let me go through your 20 questions. I know you have at least one rank in tactics. So let's just quick do go down to martial skills, and in tactics, give yourself one rank. All right, and then on the approach, do a pull down to water.
Done.
And then over to the right, there's the D20. Just click on that to roll. You didn't give yourself a rank in the skill. So next to tactics, it should say, or you know what? I'm just going to quick give you an extra skill die. There's your skill die. Okay. All right. So you have, you can keep 2 of these 3 dice. You're picking between and I'm going to say TN is 2. So you have the first ring die is a success. Second ring die is an opportunity with strife. And then the skill die looks like it's really small. It looks like strife plus a explosive. So let me let you re-roll that. See what that explodes into. Okay, so you're between these 3 results, you're going to pick 2. First thing you pick is a success. Second option is a opportunity and strife. Third option is a opportunity, a strife, and a success. So knowing that you need 2.
I'll take the opportunity, strife, and success.
Yep, and the other one, you're probably going to want to take the success or else you'll fail.
Yes.
So, with a water success, let's see what sorts of things you can do with it. Somebody give him suggestions while I'm looking for the chart.
Let's see.
So opportunity examples,
Yeah.
skills. Let me blow this up. Do you guys see those handouts I made for you?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, blow that up.
What approach did he use?
Water.
Water.
Well, one good use of opportunity is removing the strife or fatigue.
Okay, fair.
So you could get rid of that strife that you picked
Yeah.
up.
So
Worth.
for lack of better ideas, that's something you can do.
Yeah, I would go ahead and do
we're
that.
doing, yeah. Okay, so we'll just that's opportunity. We'll just cancel the strife out. You have 2 successes as you're looking around. It was called out. There's an arrow in the cart. You can see that this washout happened. And looking up at the sides of the ravine above you, this does look like a awful good place where people could see the cart coming for a good ways off, and they have some good cover up above to be shooting down. And yeah, if the washout happened at the same time, that's like the world's unluckiest merchant.
And the goods are still spread about, aren't they?
Well,
Looks like, there's a couple of vantage points.
it's hard to say if they're all accounted for or not, because the cart went down the side and looks like it rolled, so everything got spread. But that may be something worth investigating to see if it looks like anything's missing. You'd have to somehow get down that steep scree, though, to do that.
Remember that time? I say we make our way down the investigate.
Yeah, if you wanted to pick your way down, I'm going to call it a fitness test, and then of course you pick your approach on how you scramble down the loose rocks.
What say you guys?
I am going to pull out my Yumi, which is my bow, and I am going to look at everyone and say, this is more of a you all thing. I will stay up here and watch our surroundings.
Doji Nai is going to kind of just like look down at his outfit just a little bit, and then look over at the path and be like, I'm going to stay with my lion cousin up here. We'll make sure to keep an eye out for the 2 of you.
All right. So are you guys sending the Ronin down to be expendable, or is someone, Zafira, is Akane going to go with him?
Yeah, let's hold on. Let's get let's really assess the situation here, because that is a rather exposed position to be wandering off to if we can avoid it.
Okay.
Well, Saito's got us covered, right?
I do.
I have faith in his. I have faith in his bow.
That's one of us.
Okay.
As you well should, Naomi. I appreciate that.
Ooh.
And I cast a bit of a sarcastic glance at I don't remember your character's name.
Akane?
Yes. Akane. I gotta write these down.
Yes. Won't be long before we got them memorized.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
What's the worst that could happen to Kane?
Lots of things. Like, why would you ask such a thing?
Well, I will tell you, in Game Master meta speak, climbing down this scree, I'm going to call it hazardous terrain, or whatever that is, where you actually can hurt yourself if you don't do well while scrambling down the rocks. So that
Yeah.
is potentially the worst, but that might not be the worst thing that could happen. That's just a bad thing that could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, who's afraid of a little rocks or scrapes? Come on,
Yeah.
let's go.
Boo Boo's heal.
I'm gonna walk to the ledge of it and just see how deep we're looking.
It's 30 or 40 feet. It's not a straight down slope. I mean, it's got enough of an angle that you can maybe even get down on 2 feet. But if you go to scramble on all fours, it certainly looks doable.
That's
I'm gonna call,
anything.
I'm going to call it a fitness 2 test to scramble down. So you can weigh your options.
So for the viewers at home, the main reason why Saito's not doing this is because he has the clumsiness adversity. And he might die if he falls.
That would actually be kind of hilarious, admittedly.
Just die first session because I fell down a cliff.
Okay. Looks like I'm being told we have a bonus coming in from the chat to Pat. We didn't really talk about how we're going to do this because in D&D it's inspiration. So here I think we're going to call it a void point. So if you're not already maxed out, have a void. So thank you. I missed who that came from. I'm sorry, but
looks like it came from my friend Vort.
Vort. Thank you. Yes. Void points for the audience. James, why don't you take it? Because off the top of my head, I forget what you can do with it.
Void points add an additional, in die rolling terms, adds an additional roll and keep. There are other narrative uses for it as well, but that's more up to the GM discretion.
Fair. Alrighty. Very, very similar in broad concept as an advantage in D&D, but the mechanics, of course, work differently.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I can use air to. Actually, air is a grace thing, so.
Hey, I want to tiptoe gracefully down the rocks without tripping. I'll buy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my time to do this with some grace. I gotta look good at doing so. So fitness and
Chris, in the case, I know you want to use water, but water is all like for movement. I want to find the easiest, safest path down. That would absolutely be water.
The path of least resistance.
Yep. So you're gonna roll your fitness and do the water ring. I think you should have 1 rank in that, Chris. So while he's doing that, Zafira, why don't you walk us through what you rolled and what your results could be.
Okay, so I've rolled a explosive success and a strife, and a success and a strife, as well as an opportunity, and another explosive success for my skill.
Okay.
And so I keep how many of those?
If your air is 3, you keep 3.
Oh wow. Okay.
And you don't have to keep up to your full number, yeah? You can, or do you have to?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's still just like the okay. Well, I'm going to take the explosive success, both of those.
Okay.
And I will take the opportunity.
Alrighty. So go ahead and narrate your very graceful skip down the scree slope, and let me know what you want to do with your opportunity, and I'll help Chris here get his roll going.
Sure thing. For the approach down, I'm just more or less, again, like daintily going down, kind of tiptoeing down the side, and I want to use my opportunity to make sure that like I'm touching down in a relatively clear and safe-ish position down here.
Okay. Fair. Yeah, that's great. In case something were to jump out at you, you've got a good spot to be in, as opposed to a vulnerable spot to be in.
Excellent.
Chris, I'm going to go ahead and do your roll for you. Or unless you
I did it right.
Sounds like you just did it. Well, that was way too many ring dice, but that's the right idea. You should be
He's
rolling
the mighty
3.
Ronin. That's
Okay.
not too much.
Yeah, you should be rolling 3 ring and 1 skill.
I did.
Well,
Right?
it came out with 6 ring and 2 skill, so you rolled double what you should have.
3. Well, this you click up 3 plus 1. Okay. Oh, okay. Here, I'll try that again.
You shouldn't have to modify. You should just be able to do fitness, and then you set your approach to whatever ring you want to do. Like if you want to do water,
All right,
and
yeah,
then
we'll
roll, and it should come out clear.
Yeah.
we'll straighten this off. We'll straighten this out offline
Sure.
another time.
Okay.
So right now, I'm going to do your roll for you. Boom. So you can pick 3 out of those results. The explosive success and the success already give you what you need right there. It kind of be the option of, do you want to take a success, or excuse me, do you want to take an opportunity for a strife, or just take your success and be done?
I'll just take my success and be done.
Fair. Alrighty. So the 2 of you go down the loose scree. No harm, no foul, no bumps or scrapes, though Akane was a little bit more graceful in doing so. You guys are here at the...
See, we made it through just fine.
That's right.
Yeah, we still have to get back up.
Well, that's going to be a 3 to get back up, by the way, but we'll see how that goes.
Boy.
While you're down here, you see that there's no sign of the ox that was pulling the wagon, not even a corpse. You do see that all the crates have been bashed open. Looks like it was mostly dry goods, like clothing and food. Not much of the food is left, but there's lots of clothing just strewn around.
Okay.
You guys do see what looks like a body laying off in the bamboo where coming up out of the stream. And there is a grunting, snorting sound coming from that direction as well. And emerging from the bamboo is a boar. And it looks like it's aggressive.
Oh boy. I'm gonna get my hand
you a
on
good cook, Akane?
No.
All right, me neither. But we'll get through this. I draw my sword.
Yep. Time to draw the katana.
Okay. Alrighty. So for the audience sakes, looks like we don't want to try to have an intrigue conflict with the boar because, I mean, really, how intriguing can a boar be?
I mean, like, I don't really want to. Yeah, I don't want to talk this boar down.
So we're gonna fight. So we're gonna begin a conflict scene. So that begins with an initiative roll. Any conflict scene begins with an initiative roll. Those of you who are up on the ridge can still roll as well, because I know one of you has a bow, and then the other one has spells. So there's certainly no reason you can't participate in this skirmish. That's what the word I was looking for.
Taking a look at my spells, though, I don't think I have much in the way of options, sadly.
Okay, well, that's something we can address in the future, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So for the time being, you're going to roll tactics. It's target number 1 for your initiative roll. Of course, you're going to pick whatever ring you want. That's going to be your stance for this first round. So if you want to be in water, you can be in water. That's where you're moving with the flow, letting the boar do what he wants to do, and then hit him where he's weak. Or Akane, I'm sure you're probably going to want to use air.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like
Oh yeah.
All right, so you're going to roll whatever ring plus your tactics, and we're going to add that to your vigilance is your initiative total.
So the air ring for this initiative thing, that'd be a like defensive stance?
Well, if you were fighting an intelligent creature, it'd be like trying to trick him and hide what you're doing. It's an animal. I mean, you can still do it. It would just be something else.
Yeah, I'm more like getting the tiptoe kind of flight of foot kind of situation. almost in that kind of like bullfighter type fashion, where I went to more or less where the goal is to dodge it should it come at me.
All right. So has everybody rolled?
1 second. There we go. Explosive.
So each of you figure out how many successes you have. That's going to be added to your vigilance. And then note any opportunities and strife that you accumulate as well.
Yep.
So what are our total successes?
I've got 2 successes, or no, I got 1 explosive and 1 regular success, and 2 strife, which I threw on my counter.
Okay. Well, yeah. Let me do this systematically. Doji Nai, what is your successes plus your vigilance? That's your initiative. So what's your initiative?
So my vigilance base, if I got this right, is a 3.
Okay.
I rolled a total of 3 dice. I can keep all 3. I was going with the air rain on this one.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know if I'm possibly thinking about this right, but in general, there's not a whole lot I can do for the combat down at the bottom, but I wanted to keep an eye out up top.
Okay. You can still do support actions. You can, if you have any shuji, you can use those.
Okay. I do have a shuji, but I'll have to take a look at how it operates in a moment here.
Let's get the initiative figured out first.
So I got a total of 2 successes, an opportunity, and 3 strife. If I were to keep all dice, just for the sake of example, I'm going to go ahead and do so.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and keep track of your strife. And what was your initiative again?
A total of a 5.
Okay. Akane.
Yes.
What's your initiative?
With my roll, or counting my rolls?
Yeah, all final answer. What's your initiative?
It's going to be, 5?
Okay. And Akoma, I forget your first name. I'm sorry.
Saito.
Saito.
7.
All right. And Chris, I forgot your character. Naomi. What is your initiative?
Yeah, Naomi rolled I got 4.
All right.
Oh.
All right. So those of you with any opportunities, what do you want to do with your opportunities?
What are the options?
If you look at, I have opportunity examples initiative handout. Load that up and look at it.
In the process.
Yep.
What stance were you in?
I was in air.
But while you're thinking about it, Saito obviously blew us all away with 7 initiative. So let's go to you first. Yeah. And if you had any opportunities, let me know. And
I did not.
Okay, so we'll do your actions first.
For the audience's successes versus opportunities.
Okay, fair. You have several opportunities to take an action. You can do an attack action, support action, and a move action. And depending on the scene, there's lots of different supporting different kind of actions as well. But
alrighty,
Saito,
well,
I'm assuming you want to shoot at it or do something else. So what would you like to do?
Yes, I would like to shoot at it with my bow.
Okay. Target number 2 to shoot it.
All right.
We're going to have to establish the range, but it's not going to be out of range for your bow. So I'd say probably like a 4 from you guys up there on top.
Yep.
In what I'm talking about for the audience, we're not using a map. We're using kind of theater of the mind. So distance is measured in range bands as opposed to squares. Like in D&D, we would have a battle map out and we'd have icons for everybody. So
I don't think Yep, it didn't add my skill. I need to remember to click off of the number that I adjust. There we go.
Okay.
Man, I am living for this dice roller. Like, this thing is
same roll
awesome.
that you roll, just in reverse.
This is awesome. Okay, and you said target number is 2?
Target number's 2, just like normal in a skirmish.
Alrighty. So I'm going to be keeping 2 of my successes, 1 strife and the opportunity.
Okay.
Since I am using my air ring, I'm going to
Yep.
see what during a movement action, increase the TN. I am going to add a kept ring die set to an opportunity result to my next martial skill.
Okay. Is that the striking as air kata, or is that an opportunity thing?
No, it's an opportunity thing.
Okay. All right. Fair. Alrighty. So you hit the boar. What is the damage of your bow?
Pull my character sheet back up. Damage is a 5.
Okay. So in this system, endurance is kind of like hit points. When you take damage, that's what I'm going to track against. So I'm going to. I take 5 damage. That is an angry boar.
I
It's a good
forgot
thing.
how powerful bows were.
Yep. Had it been a critical hit, which you could have bought via opportunities if you had more, or if we run his endurance out, then you start getting critical hits. We would look at the deadliness of your weapon, and that would tell us what kind of critical hit you got. We're not there yet, though. All you've done is piss it off, and that sucks for the 2 samurai right down there in front of him. It's not so bad for you, though. So next we had 2 people on 5. That was Akane and Chris. Tiebreakers, I believe, is honor. So who is the less honorable between a scorpion and a ronin?
Doji and I had 5 as well.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Chris got the 4. So yeah, Doji, Nai, and Bayushi Akane, you guys both had 5s. So who is the less honorable between the scorpion and the? Hopefully,
Should be me.
should be
Is this a contest?
For breaking initiative, it is, because the more honorable person is less quick to act as the person who is more sure that I don't care, I'm just going to go.
Well, bear in mind that my honor is also set because of the school I chose, so
Okay.
I'm on a little bit of a different scheme
So
of
what-
that. I'm currently
what
at
is-
30.
Okay, so a little bit higher, a little bit less quick to act. So Bayushi Akane.
Yep. How close?
I'm going to say it is 3 range bands. I'll say actually 4 from you, because you came down with your opportunity for
Safety. Yeah.
the safer position.
All right. How many range bands can I move forward?
Actually, you know what? I'll take that back. I'll say it's your choice. It's going to be 3, and you can make that 2 or 4 your option in case you do want to
Okay.
get close.
Um,
You can move 1 range band, or if you make a fitness test, you can move potentially more than 1 range band.
Okay. I'm gonna just move the 1 range band to. Wait. First, yeah. I'm gonna take the 2.
Okay.
For the opportunity, and I'm gonna close it. I can't really close it in attack. I'm gonna hang it too. I think.
Okay. Another thing I'll let you do, since you had the opportunity, is you could, with your opportunity, is have your weapon ready.
Okay. I am gonna have my weapon ready, just in a different context.
Okay.
Since I did use air to roll, my sword is drawn.
Okay.
But I've also got my forward foot lifted just ever so slightly.
Okay.
Like it's just total against the ground. But yeah.
Alrighty. So you want to stay at range 3?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay at range 3.
Okay. So for our audience's sake, a katana can only reach out to range 2. So you're, outside of arm's reach, and then a little bit more outside of that even. So you're a good bit ways away. So is there a support action or anything you want to do, or you just want to?
No, I was gonna stay in position. I'm gonna let the Ronin showcase his skills.
All right, fair. He's paid to fight, so. But Doji Nai beat the Ronin on initiative. So Doji Nai, What do
Alright,
you
so
want to do?
I also had an opportunity in my initiative, and I
Okay.
believe if I'm looking at the thing right, one
Uh-huh.
of the things I could do with air is learn a weakness.
Sure. Okay. I would also do the same thing. I'd let you start with your weapon out if you wanted to do that instead. So just as a disclosure, if you want to do the weakness thing instead, we can do that.
I'll go with that because as it stands, I just have the wakizashi as far as a weapon or a knife. I mean,
Okay. Well, air is all.
non-combatant here for the most part.
Yeah, air has a lot of focus on empathy and discerning motivations. So that's what you're doing with this boar, and you get the idea that this the food that's been strewn around the cart has probably been what drew the boar, and the boar is being territorial and defending its territory of this food spilled on the ground. And you, as far as weaknesses go, you don't think it would really chase you guys if you were to leave.
Okay.
Hungry.
Of course, he just got shot, so now he's pissed off. So I guess
Yeah.
that may or may not change its calculus. But it is only an animal, so it only has so much strategy going on in that tiny little boar brain of its.
All right.
Okay, so what would you like to do?
All right.
Oh, goodness. As far as like support actions or anything, is
Mhm.
there like I'm not really cognizant of what I could do.
Okay.
I don't have any direct combat application
Okay, so
that I
what
can think of.
as a socio-illusionist, what are the three kinds of abilities you get? I'm guessing rituals, incantations, and what? Shuji?
And Shuji.
Okay.
So the ritual I have is commune with the spirits. The invocations I have are Cloak of the Night. I could turn something invisible. Token of Memory. I can create an illusion. That one might come into play. I can. I'll
Okay.
take a look at the read on that one, and then also Nature's Touch, where I can talk to animals. But this guy's kind of angry, and I don't think I'm going to be able to just talk him down after he got an arrow shoved into one of
Well,
his lungs.
it would be harder than had that not happened, but it's not impossible. And then for Shuji, do you have any of those?
The Shuji I have is called All in Jest. Let me.
Okay, yeah, I know what that's not going to help against
Yeah,
the boar.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not
Uh,
entirely certain what it does.
So for the audience, what we're talking about is the incantations are the spells that he knows. Rituals are like minor magic things that you don't have to be a wizard to do. I think all your characters can do rituals. And then Shuji are social and vocal abilities. They're not necessarily peaceful, la-di-da stuff. A lot of the warlike command and leading troops abilities are Shuji as well, which uh, obviously can be useful in a combat situation. If you would like to kind of wait and look over your options, I'll go to Chris and because I'm pretty sure we know what he's going to do.
Yeah. On in that case, then I'm gonna essentially hold what I'm gonna do because yeah.
Okay. All right. So Chris, this angry boar, came out of the bamboo. Looks like he's even more angry now that he just got stuck with an arrow, and he's looking over in the direction of you and Akane. But Akane kind of came down further and more safer away. So that boar is really looking at you in rage as that arrow sprouts from his shoulder. You would have to move
All
up a
right.
little
So I
bit
kind of
to be
like
able to attack
look
him.
at it and
Unfortunately, you don't have your weapon ready. So that would be your action to get your weapon out.
okay. Uh,
I don't know if anyone else can hear him. I can't hear him.
And no, things have cut.
Yeah,
He
he's
is
going in
froze.
now.
Yep. Chris, can you tell us again
No, I
what
was
you're
saying,
going
all
to
right,
do?
well, then that will be my action. I'll pull out my
Okay.
my Kopesh and prepare
All right.
myself.
You are ready for some bacon.
Yeah, I'm going to pull out my Kopesh.
Okay. Do you want to move towards it, move away from it?
I can already smell it sizzling.
Okay. So do you want to kind of stay where
I
you're
kind
at?
of want to like move towards it in a circle.
Okay. All righty. You're in your water stance. You're trying to draw it into a favorable,
Kind of
draw it
move
on
at it
favorable
in a
ground.
diagonal.
All righty. Doji Nai, did you come up with anything? If not, I'm going to have the board go. Push to talk.
All right. The only thing I can think of at this point would be to do Nature's Touch and see if I can try to talk it down. However, with the sequence of events, it's a support action to cast a spell. Would that still mean that what's left of me is so that would grant me the ability to talk to it, but
Okay.
then what do I
The
have
next
left
turn,
in one
yeah,
turn?
the next turn you can start trying to talk to it.
Okay, so because in next turn it's gonna have like another arrow in it and probably a few more stabby stabs. So, okay, I'll go ahead and do it anyway.
Okay.
Better than not having the option at all.
Okay.
So it's gonna
Does
be a
I think it?
theology air roll.
Yeah, I think it has its own set target number, does it not?
Target number 1,
There
and
you
then I
go.
have possibilities for opportunity expenditure.
Yep. So you know you only need one success.
1 second, just finding
So
my
you-
theology on this sheet here. Bam, that should have done the roll. I'm just going to take. Can I just take 2 of the dice? So I take the success and the opportunity and no strife.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. So for the sake of the opportunity, so one of the opportunities here is if I succeed, the animal also acts favorably towards me automatically due to my politeness, fulfilling one request that does not put it into danger. However, we're in the middle of combat. I don't know necessarily how that
Well,
may or may not apply.
okay. Well, as far as it's concerned, you are probably nice and easy to deal with, but the rest of these walking armored monkeys are our problem, especially if they keep attacking it.
So with that, then I'll go with that expenditure of the opportunity, and
Okay.
we'll see what can come of it when I get my next turn.
Alrighty. Fair. So the boar is up. It's been attacked. It doesn't really understand what arrows are, but it knows it's in a lot of pain. And we got this guy kind of looking me in the eyes, and he kind of looks like he wants to fight. And I'm angry and in pain, so I want to fight too. So we're gonna fight. This boar comes rushing at you out of the bamboo, and it's gonna try and disembowel you with those big old tusks it's got in its mouth. So let's hope it doesn't do that to you. He is in
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna
fire.
try
Yeah,
to
he's in
make
the
that.
fire stance. So he's an animal. He doesn't know about tactics. He's all about I'm going to get you.
So yeah, I'm like circling, waiting for him to like charge in.
All righty. So what do we got here? We got 1, 2, 3 successes. So he's going to hit. He's going to do a bonus damage. He's going to take a strife, and I'm going to take an opportunity to increase the deadliness of his weapon. All righty. Oh, he's in fire stance. The strife is yeah, that's going to be
Counts as additional additional successes.
yeah, that's going to be but it also I think it does more fatigue as well, which he'll take. So he's going to hit you for 4 successes. That's 2 bonus damage on top of his base damage, which you're not going to like this.
Uh-oh.
Base damage is 7.
Holy shit.
So you're taking 9 damage. Now you have an option here.
Oh,
When you are attacked, even if he hits, usually what you do is you defend against the blow and you take fatigue. That means he actually didn't hit you, but he came close enough that you strained as you blocked it or you wrenched out of the way. And that fatigue of the near miss is what the damage you take instead. Alternately, and I'm not saying this is necessarily what you want to do in this case, but alternately, you can spend a void point to take the hit. You don't take any fatigue damage at all. You just take a critical hit instead. Because I spent the opportunity to increase the deadliness, it's going to be a severity 8 critical hit, which is like permanent wound level stuff before you roll to defend against it. So it is a very serious attack you just suffered. My advice would probably be, well, first of all, what is
no, I will not use a void.
well, what is your endurance? Are you able to look that up? I can't hear you if you're talking. I have. We don't have his character sheet filled out. Anybody off the top of your head? You remember endurance?
No. It should be under the combat.
Oh, conflict mode. Yes, it is. Your endurance is 8. Okay, so this is going to be a critical hit either way. Or no, it won't be. When you go over your endurance, that's not a critical hit yet. But you'll be incapacitated if your endurance is higher, and that means you can't attack. So, if you want to be able to stay in the fight, you're going to have to eat this as a critical hit.
Oof.
So this is a strategic decision for you. Do you want to risk some permanent damage, or just go ahead and take the fatigue, defend yourself against the blow, but then be incapacitated by it and hope that somebody either heals you and puts you back in the fight, or they handle it without you? Who's got the Jeopardy music? We can play the Jeopardy music. By the time the Jeopardy's over, you have to decide. Oh, did we lost him?
Oh, did he go?
Are you still
I'll
here?
take the hit.
There we go.
All right, so you're going to take the critical hit, or you're going to take the
Yeah, I'm here.
fatigue?
I'll take the hit.
Okay. All right, Ethan.
I'll take the critical hit.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're going to get to see how critical hits work.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so this is before you're going to get to roll to lessen the severity, but it's going to start out at severity 8, which is a pretty big hit. I believe I have this memorized, page 270. I hope I have it memorized right.
I am the concerned.
Yeah. All right. So
yeah, so am I.
all right. So
This is
I'll just
concerning.
read this to you. A critical hit of this severity is a permanent injury. The strike leaves the character permanently injured, bearing a scar that will impact them for the rest of your life, and then their mechanical benefits are later. However, you get to roll to reduce it, and that roll is going to be you're in the water stance, so water plus your fitness, if I remember right. Yes.
You got a
TN1
high fitness, right?
TN1 fitness. So every success you get is going to lower the critical hit, and you want to get as many as you can. Because you're not going to get 8 successes. All right, and that's way too many dice again.
Yeah, something's.
We'll have to figure this out. I'm going to roll it for you. Your water is what, 3? And skill is 1. All right, So you can keep 2. And then the question is, do you want an opportunity with strife, or just take the 2 successes and no opportunity in strife? But while you're deciding that, I will let you know what you get. You demote that permanent injury into a debilitating gash. The hit is agonizing, cutting deep furrow into your flesh, splitting muscle, or fracturing bone. You will likely need some time to recover from this wound. The mechanical effect is you get the severely wounded condition on your water. And if the attack had the razor edge quality, which boar's tusks do, you also suffer the bleeding condition, which is also not good.
Ooh, this is rough.
Boars are
Amazing.
yes, boars are amazing. That's why, actually, if you kill a boar, this is like bragging feat. Boars are deadly.
Yeah, fuck.
But usually you use those big ass spears, so you hit them from far away. I mean, letting them get up into your gut like that's a newbie mistake.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody in here watched Game of Thrones, but we all know what happened to Bobby Baratheon.
Yes,
I mean,
it's you're in good company.
ugh.
He got poisoned.
He also got a boar tusk through his stomach.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so that was one round in the skirmish. Each of you gets to change your stance if you want to. Chris, in your case, you may want to, because with your severely wounded state on your water ring, all TNs go up by 3 if you use water.
If you have a good earth, I'd recommend that.
So I'm gonna bear down, and I'm gonna switch to earth.
Fair enough. Okay. No, not Akane.
Back at the top
Suimo?
now, I think.
Yeah, Ikoma, whose name I still actually. You know what? Yeah, we're coming up on the end of 2 hours. So why don't we make this a cliffhanger in the middle of a fight? Next time we'll pick up with the next round of fighting with this enraged boar. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
It sounds like I get to wipe.
Yes, and we'll have to make sure nobody gets killed by this boar. So we want to thank you for watching. Hopefully you had some fun. Next time we're just going to go right into the role play. It's going to be 2 hours. We're not going to spend an hour talking about the rules ahead of time. Next time is going to be 2 weeks from today. We will be here next Friday, a week from today, but we won't be playing. We'll just be chatting and maybe talking rules, talking lore, talking nerdy stuff. But we'll
Maybe
be
like even a Q&A. Can we do that too?
absolutely. So next time again is going to be 2 weeks from today for the role play, a week from today for Q&A, and we will in the immediate terms find out what happens. Hopefully the boar isn't going to be eating bacon. Hopefully you guys are going to be eating. Yep.
Sounds good to me.
All righty. So thank you once again, everybody. Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Rem Alternus. Once again, if you are into Kickstarters and you would like to back a good, worthy Kickstarter, take a look at Gangs of the Undercity. It's good stuff, good quality stuff.
Dragon Unicorn Games.
Yep. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep.